This is the Leitmotif and Movement Podcast, a father and son's journey into the vast worlds of music. I am your host, Mike Ficklin. Joining me on this epic musical journey is my son,
Michael Ficklin.
This show is dedicated to the discussion of music and introducing Michael to music from the past and present. We will mainly be discussing the genres of rock, hard rock, and heavy metal. We will also from time to time dive into film and video game scores, and we'll sprinkle in some surprises along the way. Michael, what have you been listening to this week?
I have been listening to bands that I haven't really listened to before.
Really? Like what?
Scarlet.
Any particular music from them?
I would have to look exactly. It's a wide variety of their music. Also, listen to Foo Fighters.
What Foo Fighters stuff did you listen to?
The Color and the Shape.
That's my favorite Foo Fighters record. That's an outstanding record. Did you listen to the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah? Any particular favorite songs?
You already know this, Everlong.
Is that the only song you like?
No, I like the other songs on it, but I think it's obvious, Everlong.
Yeah, it's a really, really good song on a phenomenal album. Definitely my favorite Foo Fighters record.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
And listen to a band called 3 Days Grace.
And what do you like from them?
Just a few of their songs. It got recommended on my when I was adding music to my Spotify playlist.
Okay. Do you know one that you liked? I assume I Hate Everything About You.
Yes, that is one song.
Yeah, I figured.
And also Fallen Angel.
Okay. Good on you for branching out on your own and trying to discover some stuff on your own. I'm proud of you for that. Good
and also, I like Linkin Park.
What material have you been listening to?
I've one of my friends on the bus recommended it to me. The song was In the End.
Yeah, good song. Good song. Is that the only song you've listened to?
Yeah. Hey, I haven't spored.
Might I recommend their entirety of their first two albums? To me, that's peak Linkin Park. I'm sure other people would disagree. I know a lot of people like their later albums and stuff, but for me, the first two records are where it's at. Hybrid Theory and Meteor are both outstanding records. Anything else?
Other than my big playlist and the playlist that we listen into the car.
Okay. Well, for me, I dug into a little bit more Anthrax. I re-listened to worship music, which, man, I'm convinced it is probably like top 2 or 3 Anthrax records all time. At least it is for me. It's so good. I am obsessed right now with the song "The Devil You Know." It's it's a banger for sure. I love this entire record. Also listened to their Anthems EP, which is a EP full of cover songs. Yeah, they cover Rush, AC/DC, Boston, Journey, Cheap Trick, Thin Lizzy. Some pretty good covers there. I was actually really impressed with their Rush cover, which was the song Anthem, and was really impressed with their Boston cover. They did Smokin'. Was very impressed with all of that stuff. Not my favorite thing that Anthrax has ever done, but it was still pretty good. And the other thing that I listened to from them was their live album Chilly on Hell, And that was an awesome record. Awesome getting to hear Joey Belladonna back fronting the band and hearing the energy that he brings live. Outstanding double live record. Was really impressed with it. Also listened to the new record from Arch Enemy titled Blood Dynasty. Musically, Arch Enemy never ceases to deliver. Blood Dynasty is no exception. Michael Amott and crew deliver a heavy as hell sonic assault on your ears. I very much enjoy Alyssa White Glutz's vocal performance. The one small critique I really have is the lyrics. At times the lyrics are a bit uninspired. However, on the whole, I really enjoyed the record. I listened to the new Split EP from, I guess it's not a split, I guess it's more of a partnership between Invent Animate and Silent Planet. The EP's titled Bloom in Heaven. I really enjoy Invent Animate and their general approach to songwriting. I didn't really have any experience with Silent Planet before, so this was my first experience with them. Right off the bat, I just gotta say that the mix on this EP left something to be desired. I feel like the nuance to Invent Animate's guitar work is completely lost in this kind of wall of sound. The guitars almost feel like they're being drowned out by the drums at times. I mean, that said, I do enjoy the songs on the EP. The first and third songs are absolute bangers, while the second song is more chill and melodic. With a better mix, I think this EP would stand out even more. Still, if you like Invent Animate and or Silent Planet, you'll probably find something you like. Also listened to the new Under Oath record, titled The Place After This One. It's an intense ride. I wouldn't say that they are covering much in the way of new ground. However, the band does seem to be struggling with itself in search of a new identity. There's very little dynamics to the record. It's a straight-up loud assault on the senses. The music feels very disjointed. It's at times overwrought with sound effects and different distorted sound clips. They employ a lot of vocal effects. I honestly feel like it becomes difficult to tell one track from the next because they all tend to be in that same dynamic range. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard, but I definitely had hoped for it to be more than what it is. So, kind of disappointing. Last thing I checked out is the new record from Awaken, titled The Ossuary Lens. The mighty Awaken is back with their 7th album, and it marks the first studio album since the return of original vocalist Ezra Haynes. This might be one of the best, if not the best record in Awaken's amazing discography. The band continues its growth and evolution. As an example of their continued musical evolution, Adrian Belew makes an appearance, providing a melodic acoustic passage in the song Dark Matter Dynamics. Awaken remain heavy as hell, but they continue to weave in the melodic prog influences. Make no mistake, the band has lost none of its brutality. The songwriting is wonderfully technical. Ezra Haynes' brutal primal screams seem to tear out your soul. This gets my recommendation of the week. Outstanding record. Michael, you got anything else before we move into our next segment?
I was going to add that I had explored Cold's catalog a bit more. I had listened to the record A Different Kind of Pain.
Listened to the whole thing?
Yeah.
And what'd you think?
Well, if it got added to my Spotify playlist,
we got to know that you enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Glad you liked it.
And I plan
Any particular favorite songs?
No, not yet. I listened through it once, so I haven't really gotten a feel to it, what song I like most. And I plan on listening to 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage. next.
Oh, outstanding record, dude. So, for me, 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage, the album right after that, which is titled Year of the Spider, and then the one right after that, which is A Different Kind of Pain. Those three records are so good, but 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage is, in my mind, the best of the three.
I got introduced cold through Year of the Spider on the
and it's
playlist.
A really good record. Yeah. Anything else?
Also, I had listened to one song from My Chemical Romance or something along those lines. Yeah.
What'd you listen to?
I listened to Welcome to the Black Parade.
Yeah, good stuff. Did you like that?
Yeah.
Did it just happen to pop up on Spotify?
No, it was on the car playlist, and that's why.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yep, your mom likes them.
And that's it for me.
Okay. So we'll move into our next segment. This is the Art of Discovery, wherein we take a listen to a few bands that maybe you've never heard of or deserve a little bit of extra attention. We've got a great selection this episode. We're going to kick things off with a band called Overlorde. And with a band name like that, you gotta know they're going to kick ass. This is their song, Battle at Marthon, from their album Awaken the Fury. And once again, that was Overlorde with their song Battle at Marthon. That comes from their 2023 album Awaken the Fury. They are a power metal band out of New Jersey, and you can purchase their music on CD and vinyl by going to overlorde.com. Michael, what did you think about that?
Wow. That guitar work was amazing.
Like that?
Yeah.
Did you like the vocals?
It kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah. Probably not used to it. You know, they actually are kind of ideal for the band we're going to be talking about later on. So they go very well, hand in hand. All right. Our next song is from a band called Let It Rot. They're a metal band out of Lansing, Michigan, and this is their song Scarlet. And once again, that was Let It Rot with their song Scarlet. Again, they are a metal band out of Lansing, Michigan. You can purchase some of their music from their Bandcamp page, letitrotmusic.bandcamp.com. Michael, what did you think about that?
I loved it.
Yeah, that was outstanding, right?
Yeah. Outstanding.
Great guitar work,
yeah.
Outstanding vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff.
It could match up with the song from Periphery, Scarlet.
I figured you'd think that as soon as you heard the title.
Yeah. I heard Scarlet. And I second-guessed myself.
Totally different song.
Yeah.
All right. Our final song is from a band called Beyond the Veil. This is their song, Eileen, the Weary Crow. And once again, that was Beyond the Veil with their song Eileen the Weary Crow. Beyond the Veil are a metal band out of the US and Germany. The song comes from their 2023 album, The Hunter's Fate. You can purchase all of their music from their Bandcamp page, beyondtheveilmusic.bandcamp.com. Michael, what did you think about that one?
I liked it. I liked the guitar work.
Good stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goes hard.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you got anything else before we close up the segment?
Nope.
All right, well, we would like to take an opportunity again to thank Overlorde, Let It Rot, and Beyond the Veil for allowing us to play one of their songs on our show today. If you would like to have one of your songs appear on our show, reach out to us via social media or shoot us an email at lightmovepod@gmail.com. We'd love to take a listen, and if we like what you're doing, we'll give you a shout and play you on the show. All right, now we're going to move into our main topic of the episode. This is breaking down Rainbow's 1975 debut release, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. A little bit of background on this. So, this record was originally intended to just be a single. Blackmore had originally planned to record a solo single for Black Sheep of the Family, which is a cover of a track by the band Fat Mattress, and the newly composed 16th Century Greensleeves, which was to be the B-side on that single. However, when Blackmore came away satisfied with those two tracks, he decided to extend the sessions to a full album. Vocalist Ronnie James Dio has stated that this release is actually his personal favorite Rainbow album. And despite the title implying the record being a Ritchie Blackmore solo release, in later years, Blackmore has jokingly stated that Dio's contributions warranted a retitling to Ritchie Blackmore and Ronnie James Dio's Rainbow. The album was praised in British contemporary reviews for its fantasy, heroic-like lyrical content and the innovative rock style. However, it wasn't all received well. More people reviewed it as kind of middle of the road. It did reach number 11 on the UK albums chart and has been certified silver in the United Kingdom. All right, Michael, let's dive into our track-by-track analysis. We start out with track number 1. This is Man on the Silver Mountain. Michael, what do you got on this one?
Instrument usage on this song, and I love the beat and many other things on this song. This is just a perfect song.
What did you think the first time you heard Ronnie James Dio's vocals?
It was different. A good different.
He's a powerhouse, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that this song is his strongest vocal performance, but it definitely gives you a hint of what's to come. And Blackmore's guitar playing, yeah.
Can we just talk about the guitar playing and the just mostly the instrument usage on this album?
Loving it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah. I really like Blackmore's guitar riff on this song. It's dark, gritty, and dirty. Ronnie James Dio's vocal performance is big and powerful. It's a fantastic way to introduce us to the band's dynamics. Dio loves his fantasy-inspired lyrics, and there's no exception here. No need to look for a deeper meaning. Just enjoy it for what it is. We get a tasty Ritchie Blackmore guitar solo around the halfway point. Craig Gruber and Gary Driscoll do a good job holding things down in the rhythm section. It's a really excellent opening song.
Can we just talk about the opener to the song? The instrument opener?
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
What'd you think of Blackmore's guitar solo?
There's a reason why I say I love the instrument usage on the song.
He's a different kind of guitar player from, say, someone you're more familiar with, like Eddie Van Halen, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a very different style to him.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And it works.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you got anything else on this one?
Nope.
Okay. We will move on to track number 2. This is Self-Portrait. Michael, what do you got on this one?
I like the beat and the vocals and the instruments. It's just another one of those songs like the first song. I like it. I like it.
Anything in particular standing out to you on it?
It's just really the whole entire song. I feel like they did a pretty good job.
Yep, pretty good song following up on that opening track. There's a little cowbell to open this one up. I feel like the song has a very bluesy feel to it. There's some excellent bass work on this one as well. Dio seems right at home with this sort of slower, bluesy song. I really like the guitar tone from Blackmore, especially during the solo. It's not my favorite song on the record personally, but it does have its good qualities. Michael, do you like the bluesier style on this particular song, or do you like a more, gritty hard rock song like the first song?
I like the first song way better than the second song.
Is it just because the second song is a little slower?
Yeah.
Like something a little more up-tempo?
Yeah.
What do you think about Dio's vocals on this one, though? I kind of feel like he's kind of right at home with this.
Yeah. It does feel like he's right at home with it. I do agree.
Did you happen to pay attention to the bass line on this one?
No.
Sir, what are we going to have to do? We're going to have many, many records to come where I'm going to point out the bass lines to you, and you're going to have to be able to talk to them, boy. It's time to start learning.
My bad. My bad I can't recognize the bass line.
So
honestly, I guess
we're going to have to start listening together, and I'm going to point it out to you. There's a very distinct difference between the sound of a bass guitar and the lead electric guitar.
Well, my bad. I only hear the lead.
Anything else on Self-Portrait?
Nope.
Okay. We will move right into track number 3. This is Black Sheep of the Family. Michael, what do you got on this one?
The title kind of confused me at the beginning.
What, were you expecting a sheep to come on going bah at you? The whole song was bah. Did you expect to hear the sound of sheep being, shaved and then butchered or something?
No, it just confused me. But I like the instruments on the song. Instrument usage on the song. And the vocals.
Yeah, this is a cover of a Fat Mattress song. I've not heard the original version of this before, but
all
this
these
song
years
is definitely... Oh, I'm sorry?
All these years and you still...
Yeah, and I've never heard the original version before. Maybe I'll have to go look it up sometime.
Shame on you.
Right? Yeah. Shame on me for not knowing the original version of this. Meanwhile, here's you only half listening to a song that you can't point out.
I am not half
baseline.
Listening to. My bad.
This song is definitely more up-tempo than the previous song. It's got a really solid groove to it. It seems to me like it has a bit of a rhythm and blues influence to it. No big guitar pyrotechnics on this one. Dio delivers another solid vocal performance. Just a fun song. I like it pretty well.
I feel like Dio is delivering a pretty solid vocal delivery for most of these songs.
Yeah, these first 3 songs, he shows a lot of range, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a big range to his vocals, not only from what's the word? Like from from like a key standpoint. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, Michael.
Key
From an
standpoint.
octave
Wait,
standpoint.
octave.
Yeah,
Right.
he's got
What are
variants
you
to his
trying to ask
octaves,
me?
but he's also kind of showing off that he can fit his vocals into different
Parts.
styles of music. So you got, your hard rocker to start off with, and then you got the more bluesy songs to follow. And I think it works really, really well for him.
Can we go back a little bit? What were you talking about? About like the octave thing? What were you trying to
I was
ask
just
me?
saying, so far, Dio has showed off his range as far as octaves are concerned.
So the it would just you would probably just say vocal range there. The octaves is a whole entire thing.
Yep, I will defer to you on that.
It's a whole thing. There's a whole bunch of levels, and I don't even know most of them. So all I know is fancy word used in choir. I use fancy word.
So what have you thought of Dio's vocal range through these first 3 songs? Do you see it the way that I do, that he's showing that he's got a big range?
Yeah. And most people can have a very big range if they are lucky with their voice.
A little bit of training, too.
Yeah.
Okay. Got anything else on Black Sheep of the Family?
Nope.
Okay. We will move right along. This is track number 4. This is Catch the Rainbow.
I love
Michael,
this
what you got on
song.
that? You like this song?
Yeah, I like just mainly because of the instrumental work on this song. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of good stuff on this.
Mm-hmm. And I like the vocals.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say,
Yeah.
This is yet another side of Dio, right? A bit softer.
We're seeing every side.
4 sides to every coin.
What are we getting next? Heavy metal?
Yeah, this is another bluesy rocker. Dio is giving us that different side to his vocal range. It's a lot softer than the previous tracks. This might be the most dynamic vocal performance from Dio on the record on the whole. I really, really like the vocal melody on this. I enjoy the use of the mellotron as well. Michael, you might recognize the sound of that mellotron because Opeth likes to use that on a lot of their music. We get treated to an excellent bluesy Ritchie Blackmore guitar solo. I also have to point out that Driscoll has some solid drum fills on this one. Gruber's bass line on this song is so good. I really enjoy Blackmore's guitar work in the final minutes of this song. This song is hands down one of my favorite songs on the record. Love this song. Michael, what else you got on this?
That's really all I have on it.
Nothing else to say?
Nope.
Man, you're missing out. To me, this is like the best song on the record. Just bar none. All right, so we will move right along to track number 5. This is Snake Charmer. Michael, what do you have on this one?
I like the opening guitar work on this song.
Kind of psychedelic and funky.
And that's what I kind of realized with the first song. The opening guitar work is kind of funky on the first song too.
Yeah, a bit.
But I just like the song.
Yeah, we get back into more of a up-tempo rocker with this song. Blackmore is bringing the psychedelic guitar work. There's a really funky bass line from Gruber. We get treated to another excellent Blackmore guitar solo while Gruber is just laying down this killer bass line underneath it. It's so good. Lyrically, it's nothing to write home about in my opinion. However, Dio's vocal performance is still big and shows off his powerful range.
And that's something I realized. He showed off his vocal range a lot in this album.
Yeah, he's got a lot of power in his vocals. Especially, you'll notice especially as time goes along, as you listen to more stuff from Dio, especially as you get into like his solo stuff. Mm-hmm. Like the album Holy Diver. Yeah. That, man. I can't wait for you to hear that. I think you'll really dig it. Let me stop right here. We're a little over halfway through the album, Michael. On the whole, take me back and let me know what you were thinking your first listen through at this point.
When I first heard this record, I can mainly... The first thing that comes to mind is the first song on the album. And I really liked the first song on the album, which still stands.
What stood out to you right away?
The guitar work.
The guitar work?
Yeah.
That's what seems to stick with you the most?
Yeah.
Blackmore is an excellent guitarist, and I think the more you hear of him, the more you're really going to like him. Rainbow is not his original band. This was kind of started as sort of a solo side project of his.
So it kind of did what Foo Fighters went through.
Kind of. It's a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
I think Blackmore was getting a little bored and maybe disenfranchised with the band that he had been in before this, which was Deep Purple. And we definitely got to get you listening to some Deep Purple. I think he was just looking for something new, a little change of pace, which is what caused him to want to do a solo project. So with Foo Fighters, I think it was more a thing where Dave wanted to prove that he was just as good of a songwriter as Cobain was in Nirvana. So I think that's how some of that started, kind of as a sort of friendly rivalry kind of thing. But Cobain ended up passing away, and Dave made the Foo Fighters his primary project. Okay, back to this record. Michael, you got anything else on Snake Charmer before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. So we'll move into track 6. This is The Temple of the King. Michael, what do you got on this one?
I like the guitar work. It just can be hooky at some points of the song, vocal-wise, and yeah. Just good.
Yeah, there's something about the music in this song that makes me think of a medieval setting.
Medieval.
I'm not sure what it is, but I really like it. The Mellotron makes another appearance in this one, and I'm just a sucker for that sound. Dio's vocal melody is really hooky, especially in the chorus. Blackmore's guitar work is simple, but so good. There's a very simple beauty to it, especially in that clean-sounding opening main guitar riff. That's just killer. Great stuff. Blackmore's just a hell of a guitarist, period. It's interesting for me to note that in some of the reviews for this record, folks say that Blackmore's guitar work is boring, that they find this album bland. I disagree. I think there's a lot going on this record.
I disagree with that, too.
I think Blackmore's doing a lot of really cool stuff on this record. I can't fathom why people feel like this is boring. I disagree.
Because they're used to their upbeat music. More upbeat.
I don't know if it's that or if it's one of those cases where people are mad about him leaving Deep Purple or whatever. So I don't know.
It's either people being mad at him or genuine reviews.
Genuine reviews?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Like, actual reviews.
Well, right. And that's what I'm talking about is actual reviews.
Mm-hmm.
People calling it bland and stuff like that. So I don't know. I disagree. And I think adding Dio with Blackmore's creativity on the guitar, it's a recipe for magic. And I love that Dio kind of plays into this sort of medieval feeling song by continuing on with his, fantasy-based lyrics. You don't have to look real deep for a meaning on most of Dio's songs. They're mostly written from a fantasy perspective, so it's not like, there's some hidden meaning beneath the surface. You can take it at face value. You like D&D, kids? You love Ronnie James Dio. Michael, you got anything else on the Temple of the King? All right, so we will move on to track number 7. This is If You Don't Like Rock and Roll. Michael, what do you got on this one?
I really like the piano on this song. I think it really completes this song. And it adds something new. I also like the vocals and other instruments that are in this song.
Yeah, this feels like a 50s R&B based rocker complete with piano. It's such a fun jam. We even get a little piano solo with clapping hands around the midway point of the song. And again, the rhythm section just kills it on the song. I enjoy Dio's vocal performance on this one. His vocal melodies are hooky, especially in the chorus. Dio takes a break from his fantasy-based lyrical content and gives us more of a good time party song. It's upbeat and infectious. Great change of pace. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Little Richard song we listened to last episode.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of frenetic energy, that really up-tempo piano. Good stuff, man. You know what it else kind of reminds me of? Have you ever heard the song Great Balls of Fire?
What is it?
Great Balls of Fire. I'm assuming you haven't. If you're asking me what is it?
I'm searching it up.
No, that's all right. If you don't know it, we can add that on to your Michael's journey. There's some interesting stuff about the guy that sings that. So,
yeah, I've never heard the song.
Okay, we'll have to introduce you to that on a coming episode. Do you have anything else on If You Don't Like Rock and Roll?
Nope.
Okay, so we will move into track number 8. This is 16th Century Greensleeves. Michael, what do you got on this one?
I like the lyrics. I like how they had the guitar work and the drums. It's just, yeah. Everybody on the instruments is holding it down over there.
Yeah, we're back to a more dirty, gritty guitar sound from Blackmore. Dio's back to his fantasy medieval lyrics. We get an outstanding Blackmore guitar solo in this one. It may actually be my favorite solo on the record. Dio's showing off the power of his vocals. I have to again take my hat off to Gruber and Driscoll for their work holding down the rhythm section. This is a phenomenal song. I love this song. Out of curiosity, Michael, do you like Dio's choice to spin his lyrical themes on like fantasy medieval stuff?
I think it's different. I don't feel like much people are doing that.
I mean, it's definitely different for
Mm.
you, right? Because you
Mhm.
I think this is actually your first experience with dealing with someone that writes with these types of lyrics. So, it might be different for you. It's certainly not unusual. There's a lot of bands out there that utilize like a medieval lyrical setting. Do you like it though?
Mhm. I'm trying to think of a band that we've listened to on. It was a few episodes ago.
Are you talking about a band that we covered on a main
Yeah.
topic?
Yeah, main topic. It it
Are you
was
thinking of
Rush.
Rush by
Yeah.
chance? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a more of a science fiction bent. A little
That
different than the medieval fantasy stuff, but I see where you're
Mhm.
going.
It had sparked an idea in my brain, and I was like, "What band did we listen to?"
I
That
assume you're
light
thinking
bulb.
of 2112, the track
Yeah.
2112.
Yeah. That was the
Yeah,
one we covered
it's a
3
pretty good
episodes ago.
comparison. There is a difference between a fantasy medieval setting and a science fiction setting, but yeah, on the whole, I definitely see where you're going. Michael, anything else on 16th century Greensleeves?
Nope.
All right. So we'll move into the final track on the record. This is Still I'm Sad. Michael, what do you got on this one?
On this song, it just shows how much the people that play the instruments held it up. Let's just put it that way. Held this album up.
Yeah, this is the second cover song on the record. It's a cover of a song from the Yardbirds. It's an instrumental, and it absolutely rocks. Again, I'm not familiar with the original version of the song, but this version is really good. Blackmore's guitar work is so smooth on this. Solid drum work from Driscoll on this. Excellent bass work from Gruber. This is a pretty good way to close the album out with Blackmore showing off his skill on the guitar to close out the song. Just a rocker, man. Good stuff. Interesting choice to close the record out
Yeah.
with an instrumental rather than a song with Dio, right?
I think they're just trying to show off the band.
Yeah. I think probably more an opportunity for Blackmore to show off since it was this whole thing started out as a Blackmore solo project. Why not give him a chance to really show off?
Of course, the show-off is showing.
I would think that you would want to do something original if you were going to do something like this.
Yeah.
But I guess
Hey,
I
to
kind of
each
see
their own.
Right, yeah. And the Yardbirds were full of outstanding guitarists over the years. So I could see why Blackmore might have been influenced by this or in love with this song. So he does a great job with it. Again, I've never heard the original version of it, but I'm sure Blackmore just kills it. So the whole band's just on fire with this. Michael, anything else on this one before we move into our final thoughts?
Nope.
Okay. So we're going to get into our final thoughts and our ratings on this record. Michael, let's get your final thoughts and your rating out of 5.
I enjoyed it, but I feel like this was a good. Was this their first album? Under
Correct.
this?
Yeah, this was their debut.
Yeah. I feel like this was a good starter, but there's some there is some dull points where I feel like they could have done more. But of course, it's their first record, and I'm gonna say 3.5.
Michael's giving it 3.5 out of 5. Alright, for me, this album was my introduction to Ronnie James Dio. Is it the best album that Dio was involved in? No. I wouldn't even call this the best album from Rainbow. However, there is a certain magic to this record. Ritchie Blackmore's guitar work feels inspired and reinvigorated in his first album of his then new band. Blackmore has some terrific solos, especially on songs like Man from the Silver Mountain and 16th Century Greensleeves. The band's rhythm section, bass guitarist Craig Gruber and drummer Gary Driscoll do an outstanding job. I find that Gruber's bass playing in particular is fantastic. At times, I do feel like the album suffers from a bit of slow dullness. It's not without its flaws, but it retains a special place in my heart, so I'm going to go ahead and give it 3.5 out of 5 as well. And our question for the audience for this episode is, what is your favorite track on Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, and why? Michael, anything else before we close up the segment?
Other than I enjoyed this.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you listen to more Dio or more Rainbow?
Yeah.
Outstanding. Awesome. We will definitely get into some more Dio and Rainbow then down the line here. All right. Now we're going to move into our next segment. This is called Can't Wait. New music coming soon. Michael, I'm not sure I'm even going to ask.
Rather, just ask about the wish list.
I already know your wish list. You've gone over it many times. What I want to ask is, are there any records that are actually coming out that you're looking forward to?
There's the thing. I don't know.
Sir. We do a music podcast, and you don't know nothing about this.
Honestly, it ain't even my fault.
It's not even your fault. It is all your fault. It is all on you. All you got to do is go looking for it, man. There's places all over the place you can look to see what new music is coming.
I guess I could say the Paradise of Slaves record.
Yep, that's coming here before long. Coming up real soon.
That's the only thing I could say, but, that's the thing.
I don't see anything immediately on the horizon that I'm looking forward to over the next couple of weeks, at least not in the way of brand new music. I do see that on April 11th, Swallow the Sun is releasing a deluxe edition of their latest record titled Shining. And on April 18th, Ayreon is releasing a remixed and remastered version of The Human Equation. But neither one of those, again, are new music, so maybe I'll spend my time digging into some older music.
Wow. Not even gonna
also
give
recently
it a chance?
announced. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said not even gonna give it a chance?
I mean, I'll probably listen to it, but this is stuff that I've heard before. I did see recently announced that on June 6th, Catatonia is releasing their new record titled Nightmares as Extensions of the Waking State. I am really looking forward to that. I will be all ears.
But are you all ears?
Of course. All right. Michael, anything else on this segment before we move on?
Why do you ask? No. There's no point in asking.
All right. So we will move into our next segment. This is Michael's journey discovering a song from the past. And this time around, we're going to get Michael's thoughts on Marvin Gaye's I Heard It Through the Grapevine. A little bit of background on this. I Heard It Through the Grapevine is a song written by Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong for Motown Records in 1966. The first recording of the song was produced by Whitfield for Gladys Knight and the Pips and was released as a single in September of 1967. It went to number 1 on the Billboard R&B singles chart and number 2 on the Billboard Pop singles chart, and shortly became the biggest selling Motown single up to that time. The Marvin Gaye version was the second to be recorded in the beginning of 1967, but the third to be released. It appeared on his 1968 album In the Groove a year and a half later, where it gained the attention of radio disc jockeys. Motown founder Berry Gordy finally agreed to its release as a single on the Tomla subsidiary in October of 1968. The record went to the top of the Billboard Pop singles chart for 7 weeks from December 1968 to January 1969, overtaking the Gladys Knight and the Pips version as the biggest hit single on the Motown family of labels up to that point. The Gaye recording has since become an acclaimed soul classic. In 1998, the song was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame for historical, artistic, and significant value. In 2004, it was placed 80th on the Rolling Stone list of the 500 greatest songs of all time, then re-ranked at 81 in 2010. In 2021, it was ranked 119. And on the commemorative 40th anniversary of the Billboard Hot 100 issue of Billboard magazine in June 2008, Marvin Gaye's Grapevine was ranked 65th. So a lot of big praise for this song. Michael, let's hear your thoughts on this.
Marvin Gaye gets a lot of praise, so
there's a good reason for that.
yeah.
Let's get your thoughts on this, Michael.
I love this song. Not as much as the other Marvin Gaye song we've listened to, but I do like it.
Had you ever heard it before?
No.
Okay.
There's very few Marvin Gaye songs I've heard. But I like Marvin's smooth vocals. I like the instruments. It's just perfect. Perfect.
Catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. For my money, there's no smoother voice in rhythm and blues than Marvin Gaye. Marvin's vocal performance is so good. It's heartfelt and emotional. The song deals with someone who has found out that their significant other has been cheating on them via hearsay and rumors. The bass line on this song is iconic, and it's so hooky. Speaking of great hooks, the iconic chorus is so catchy. I can't help but sing along when I hear it. I love the string arrangement on this song too. That's something that Motown does so well in general. Fun fact, Marvin's version of this song is not the first version of this song I ever heard. The first version I remember hearing was the California Raisins cover of this song. Later, I would hear Creedence Clearwater Revival's cover. Then I would hear Marvin's version. Marvin is definitely my favorite, but CCR is a close second. This is an absolutely fantastic song. Michael, let's get your rating out of 5 on this.
I'm going to give this a 5.
Michael gives it a perfect score. All right, Michael. So up next on your journey is Barrett Strong's Money, That's What I Want. And for our main topic on our next episode, we will be discussing Dredge's 2002 release, El Cielo. Trust me, folks, you're not going to want to miss this episode. This is one of my absolute favorite records ever. I will wax lyrical about this. We are going to have a very deep discussion on this album. You're not going to want to miss that one. All right, with that said, we want to hear from you. We will read your emails and messages on the show. We have only one request: keep them clean. There are several ways to contact us. You can email us at lightmovepod@gmail.com. You can also reach us on several social media platforms such as Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. Details on how to connect with us are in the show notes. We're part of the SPDM Crew Podcast Network. Check out all of the podcasts on the network by visiting spdmcrew.com.
If you liked the show, subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting platform and share with your friends and family. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and a variety of other platforms. We are also on YouTube. Can't find us on your chosen platform? Shoot us a message and let us know. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This helps us be found in the algorithm. Make them good and we'll read them on the air. Are you in a band and you'd like us to check you out and possibly drop a recommendation on the show? Shoot us a message. We'd love to give you a shout.
We'd like to thank you very much for listening to the Leitmotif and Movement Podcast.
Take care and enjoy music.